Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hey Everybody podcast, episode 84. My name is Christopher Gold. Thanks for being here. I've been saying the last couple, and I want to keep saying so no one's like taken by surprise, that we are winding this thing down and replacing it with something new if everything goes according to plan. And I think winding it down either way. I come from like punk rock and hardcore and metal and that kind of thing. And there are some great bands in that genre or those genres that go on forever. That they've been a band for 40 years and they rip and it's awesome. And then there are bands that they did 4 really good records. And then they passed an off-ramp. And then they made a record that was it's fine, I guess. And now they're a band that just makes fine records, I guess. And I feel like part of it, obviously, is that punk rock and hardcore and metal and even, rock and roll are a young person's game for sure. Part of it is that it's an unreasonable expectation to put on a human that you should be capable of doing this thing forever and it should stay fresh and it should stay great and all that kind of stuff. There's a really fascinating interview with Jakob Dylan from the Wallflowers, who I like a lot. And I think they get unjustly lumped into 90s one-hit wonders. They have at least 3 or 4 great records that I love. But he did this interview with Mark Maron where he said, there was all this pressure to follow up our big hit song with another big hit song or big hit record. And it just never occurred to me that I would be capable of doing that again. Part of it was just a happy accident. Part of it was the moment. Part of it was those players, all that kind of stuff. And I like that idea that you can do something and it can end and it can be successful. A lot of times I think we think stuff ends and that means it wasn't successful, I'm sure there's even relationships people have had that it lasted 5 years. We were really happy. We stopped being happy. The relationship ended. That was it. And with this podcast, I don't even know what exactly my intention was when I started it. I know it didn't start out as what it is now. And I think we're certainly getting to the point where, I'm proud of every episode of it. We've done 84 so far. And at a certain point, I'm going to start repeating myself in a way that's not satisfying for anyone. And this new thing I'm really excited about. I think people that like the podcast will like it. I think people that don't like the podcast might like it. I think some people just won't like it because they don't like me. And that's fine. But what I wanted to talk about today is this. I just had this sort of realization mid-conversation a couple days ago. I was playing a show, and usually I play a lot of shows that are it's my first time at this venue, It's a lot of fun to go to repeat places and get to know people and that kind of thing. But just the nature of the thing is that you end up introducing yourself a lot at shows. And typically when that happens, the way the conversation goes is the person you're introducing yourself to who maybe booked the show or works at the venue or owns the venue or whatever, they'll ask you questions about what you do and where you've done it and who you've played with and that kind of thing. And it's cool. I've done some stuff that I'm really proud of and that I think is really amazing and that I'm really grateful for. And I don't talk about it that often because maybe to a fault, I don't want to seem like I'm bragging or name dropping or whatever. I think anybody who's ever talked to me and had a real conversation with me about some of the things I've done they know like, oh, it's just pure gratitude. Like it's just mind blowing. Like, how did that even happen to me? I can't believe we got to do that. Can you believe we got to do that? How cool is that? I sort of feel like I was thinking this morning that the way I feel when I tell people like, oh, we got to play that venue or we got to open for so-and-so is sort of like the way I feel when I say, oh, look at this guitar I got. I don't feel like I'm bragging. I'm saying, look how cool this thing is. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's mine has very little to do with its coolness, if anything at all. But I worry about bragging and being big-headed and name dropping and that kind of thing. So I don't really very often say like, oh, you know, we did this or I played here with this person or whatever. I sold this many. But in these conversations, it comes up. And I was talking to a very nice person and they were saying, like, where else do you play? And I said, oh, you know, I get to Madison a fair bit. I'll play anywhere that people ask. I would love to travel to Montana and play a show for somebody. Just, you know, say the word. But when I said, oh, we play Madison a fair bit, the person I was talking to said, oh, where have you played? And I said, you know, we've been very lucky in Madison and we've played pretty much everywhere. We got to play this little place called The Frequency back when it existed. We played a show at the Crystal Corner. We played very often at the High Noon Saloon, which just has such a big place in my heart. We've played the Majestic Theater. We played the Barrymore Theater once. We played live on King Street. And we played the Sylvie this summer. And the person I was talking to was like, wow. And then they said, who'd you play with at the Sylvie? And I said, oh, we opened for Orville Peck. And a tumbleweed blew between us. And the person had no idea who Orville Peck was. And I was like, okay, well, that surprises me a little bit that you haven't like heard the name or anything. But that's fine. And then they said like, so who were you with at the Majestic Theater? And I said, oh, you know, opened for Mandolin Orange and William Elliott Whitmore and just a handful of people, you know. And again, nothing. And I said, and then the Barrymore was Robert Earl Keen, who's like a Texas songwriting legend. Nothing. I said, you know, at the High Noon, I got to open for Chuck Reagan, and I got to open for John K. Sampson, who's like a songwriting legend to me. And just recently, we were with Matthew Logan Vasquez from a band called Delta Spirit, and I got nothing, like no recognition at all. And that's when I had this epiphany, which is that the stuff you do that is satisfying or monumental or encouraging or anything like that, it has to just be all those things for you. Because if I think, oh, if I could just open for so-and-so at such and such a place, then people would take me seriously, or they would understand what I'm doing and that it's real. You know, there were times where I would go like, man, if we could ever open for a band like Murder by Death at some legendary venue, that'd be it. You know what I'm saying? And then we did. We opened for Murder by Death at Codfish Hollow. And I know that some people watching this don't understand any of those words. They don't know what a Murder by Death is, and they don't know where Codfish Hollow is. But to me, it was monumental stuff. And it was something I still think back on and am encouraged by and feel good about. And we played to a lot of people. But if you encounter someone who says, oh, tell me about your music and what you do, and you say like, man, we got to open for Murder by Death once at Codfish Hollow, and they go, I don't know what that means. You're put in this position of like, what does it mean? If this person doesn't know what it means, what does it mean? And what I leave with is, it means a lot to me. It means that my career does what I want it to do some of the time. And even on the other end of that spectrum, my band opened for the band Styx one time. It was wonderful and bizarre. I don't think it was a great fit. I don't even really know how it happened, but it did. And we had fun, and they were very nice to us. And I spent the whole night talking to their merch guy, who was this like 65-year-old Mississippi road dog who gave me all kinds of advice that if my band ever gets as big as Styx, I will be very happy to use. He taught me that you never use pyrotechnics. You want to get yourself some big-ass confetti cannons. And I said, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah, because with pyrotechnics, you got to get the fire department down here and the health department. They got to check, make sure it's safe. You can blast confetti all over everybody without running it past anyone. And in my head, I'm going like, that's cool. Tomorrow, we're playing like a little dive bar for like 10 people. But we'll bring confetti cannons. Anyways, it was a great thing. It was so fun. And it was just great. I look back on it very fondly. But there are some people that you say like, oh, we opened for Styx. And they recognize the name, but they don't. Saying you opened for Styx is different than saying we opened for the Rolling Stones. You know what I mean? I think Styx is a very good band, and they put on a hell of a show. Like you wouldn't believe. It was amazing. And again, they were super nice to us, and we got to play to a real big crowd who like bought CDs and stuff, and it was awesome. But sometimes you tell me like, oh, we opened for Styx, and they go, really? And it's like, well, shit, okay. So the one band we've played with that everyone's heard of, some people think like is a laugh, and then the cred bands that I've played with, some people just haven't even heard of them. Like, it hurts my head that someone doesn't know who John K. Sampson is. But it doesn't make it mean less to me, you know? And I think the thing about accomplishment is that we want it validated. It's not enough to want to do something and then do it and feel good about it. We then need the whole world to dance with us and go like, hey, you did it. Good job. And it just doesn't happen. It can't happen. And I think there's a lot of freedom in that and a lot of liberation in that. Because I could riff you a list of people that I have gotten to play with that I still like. I cannot tell you how much it means to me that I got to play a show with Justin Townes Earl and that we got to talk and hang out, especially now that he has passed on. Like, that matters so much to me, you know? I can't tell you how much it meant to me when Robert Earl Keen announced his retirement earlier this year. And I could go, no one's ever going to get to open for him again, which means the list of people that have is closed, and I'm on it. You know? I've never met John Prine. He doesn't know I exist. He didn't know I existed. But I got this poster on my wall right here that he's on the top of, and I'm on the bottom of. And that's a limited club of people that were on a poster with John Prine. And I treasure that stuff. And it would be easy to treasure it less because it doesn't mean anything to whoever, or because it didn't, I think in this business and in this life, you're taught that if something is self-contained, that it doesn't have as much worth as something that leads to something that leads to something. And in the music world, everything leads to everything, but it's not always clear and it's not always linear. And it's fairly rare that like, oh, I played a show with so-and-so and they said, you should open the rest of the tour, get in the van or whatever. And then by the end of the tour, their label had signed me and now I'm famous. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really happen. So you never really get confirmation that like, oh, we got this show because we played that show like a year ago and someone heard about it, and they don't usually tell you even. You know, I have to ask myself like, hey, you know, when a stranger reaches out and says, we'd love you to come play our place, I've started asking like, can I ask how you heard about me? And it's amazing how often they go, I don't know. I think maybe like I booked somebody And then I saw on like Instagram that like you had played with them or something. But a stunning amount of the time they go, I don't know. I don't know how you ended up here. And I go, me neither. So that was my epiphany this weekend, that your wins have to be your wins. You know what I mean? You can't value them more or less based on how much other people value them, you know? And that's cool because again, it's liberating and you can just be in your joy if you want to be. Let's have some coffee and let's do some recommendations. We got some good ones. First up, this came to me the other day. I've been waiting for a while. I'm very excited. This band is called Dream Tigers, and the record is called Elapsis. I heard about this band because one of the members of this band, now two of the members of this band, are in a hardcore band I like a lot called Defeater. And now someone else from this band who joined is in a post-rock band called Caspian, and they have a very talented like violin player that joins them sometimes named Aisha Burns, and really great stuff. This band and this record is sort of hard to describe in like the best way because I hear like folk songs. I hear songs that you could play with an acoustic guitar and they would hold up. But then they turn them into like these very big, with lengthy instrumental section. Sometimes it's almost like shoegazy and just really big guitars, but then it gets really small and like folky for a second and then big guitars again. And it's great. And you should just listen to it. I hate trying to explain what a band sounds like when it's not really obvious. And the possibly only upside of like the current digital streamy world is you can just listen to it and see if you like it. But if you do like it, give them some money because they're great. I'm very happy to have this. It's their second full length. And I have the other one and they're really, really good. Up next, why'd I say it like that? This band's called The Devil Makes Three, and this record is called Chains Are Broken. And the cover rips. That's so good. That's a back piece right there. You just take this down the tattoo shop and get it tattooed on your back. This can be the butt. So this band, The Devil Makes Three, I've been a fan for a long time. They're kind of like an old-time string, bluegrass, folk, country band. They're not 100% any one of those things, but they're some percent all of those things, which I think makes them very interesting. And then they put out this record, which I believe is their most recent studio album. And it sounds different. I got it because it's The Devil Makes Three, and I listened to it, and I went, that sounds different. They added drums. They added some new stuff on guitar. So I reached out to my buddy Ben, who's a Devil Makes Three fan, and I said, hey, what do you think of the new Devil Makes Three? And he goes, I don't know. It's different, and I'm not sure. And then what happened is I didn't spend a ton of time with it. I didn't really revisit it. And a couple weeks ago, my wife was talking about this band because she likes them too. And I said, yeah, but then there's that weird record, that Chains Are Broken record. I don't know what to do with that record. And she goes, why? And I said, I just didn't like it very much. And I don't know where that came from, the idea that I didn't like it. It was just different. And I didn't dig into it. And then over time, in my head, it became I didn't like it, which I know now was never accurate. Anyways, she put it on, and it's good, dude. Like, I like this record, and she liked this record. And I found myself going like, it is different. It doesn't sound exactly like some of their other records. But now I find that refreshing because if it did sound like all their other records, I wouldn't really want it that bad. And I like the way it sounds now. I like the drums. I like the electric guitar and that kind of stuff. And I like being reminded that being a fan of a band sometimes means they're going to take you by the hand and lead you somewhere you didn't think you were going today. But you should go because you owe them at least that for decades of making music you like and that kind of thing. So listen to The Devil Makes Three, listen to Chains Are Broken, and, listen to stuff at least 5 times before you decide to stop listening to it. All right? Then finally, I was at the record store yesterday. I went for a walk yesterday with my wife. And I somehow ended up coming home from the walk with 4 boxes of Girl Scout cookies and this. What this is a record called Whaling and Sailing Songs from the Days of Moby Dick, sung by Paul Clayton. I don't know who Paul Clayton is. I had a vague idea that I might enjoy like sea shanty, whaley, saily songs, but I'd never heard of this record. It is old. It's from 1956. But I ended up at the record store, and I bought a record by a punk band called Make Do and Mend. And as I was walking out, I saw this on the wall. And I went, oh, that looks interesting. And between the door of the record store and my car, I had like punched it up on Spotify because, again, that's pretty much what Spotify is good for. And it was there. And I listened to 1.5 songs in the car. And then I got out of my car and I walked back into the record store and I grabbed this off the wall and said, well, I guess I need this. And it was $2 and it rules. And because it's old, you get the whole like blurby thing on the back. You get this like Abe Lincoln looking dude with a harpoon or whatever. You get to know that it was owned formerly by a woman named Carla P. because she wrote her name on it right there. And it's awesome. It's really good. It's just this guy who, I guess his name's Paul Clayton, and he plays a very nice acoustic guitar, and in a bit of like a Welshy accent, he sings some sea shanties. It's really good. I like it a lot. I've really been enjoying it. And what I really like about it is this doesn't happen if you don't go to a record store. And you try to explain that to people, and they go, well, you can find new stuff on Spotify, or you can find new stuff on Amazon, or your friends will tell you about stuff. You're never going to find this record any of those ways. You need to physically be in a place. You need to physically be flipping through stuff and see a thing and go, what the hell is that? That looks weird and neat, and I am intrigued. And then you need to listen to it, and you need to buy it, and enjoy it, and be glad. It's really, really good. Viva Record Stores. All right, then. That'll do it. I hope you guys are good. I got some shows coming up that I'm very excited about. I got a new thing happening that'll replace the podcast, and I'm very excited about. I believe next week we'll get to announce a show that got confirmed yesterday that I'm very, very, very excited about. And, but again, it's another one of those shows that like, I will tell people, oh, I'm opening for at and some people will go like, oh my God, dude, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. Some people will go, who? Where? What? I don't understand. And some people will ask if there's a guest list. Those people can kiss my ass. It's funny that even when you're a nobody from nowhere, that happens. Because we do occasionally, we get these big shows. And people that have never come to see me play, they go like, hey man, do you have like a couple spots for the show? Nope. And I'm very happy to get like friends and into places and that kind of thing. But, you know, don't be gross. I was talking to a buddy of mine about it, and we were both laughing at how tiptoey they are when it happens, because they know that like, I haven't heard from you in like 4 years, dude, and you never come to see me play music. And why are you texting me? I forgot you even had my phone number. And they go, hey man, big congratulations on the show. And I go, okay. And I go, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And they go, yeah, I'm such a big fan of so-and-so. And I go, yeah, me too. We're really excited. And they go, oh, I was hoping to go, but sold out. And I go, yeah, we're really excited. Going to be a big crowd. Looking forward to it. And they go, yeah, man, I really wish I could be there. And you go, yeah, it'd be good to see you again sometime. You know, I don't know what to tell you. And then finally they go like, you don't have like any spot, like any guest list or anything like that. And first of all, I don't, maybe like once or twice have I even asked if we could have a guest list, because we're the opener and we're just happy to be here, dude. We're not trying to big league anybody and go like, here's our list of 50 people that we want to bring in the back door or whatever. And I can even count on maybe one hand, maybe two, the times I've been put on a guest list because it feels weird to ask and, you know, that kind of thing. So I go, no, we don't have a guest list. We're just the opener. You know, we're nobody, you know. And they go, oh, well, that's too bad. It would have been good to see you. And that's when I go, oh, cool, because we're playing this dive bar right here in town the next day. And it's free. And because you love me so much and you love my music so much, you could come to that one. And you'll never guess what happens. They don't. But again, it's funny. And it's fun to think that it's funny and poke fun at it and that kind of thing. You know. So, there's that. I'm done rambling at you. I hope you're all good. Hope you had a good, safe St. Patrick's Day. I was downtown at 1:30 in the afternoon on St. Patrick's Day, and I saw people outside falling down, hammered. Treat yourself better than that. Be nice. I love a beer or a whiskey. I love occasionally having a couple, you know, like I'm not saying it's wrong to drink. I'm not even saying it's wrong to drink a little too much once in a while and have a good time. I'm just saying my heart breaks a little bit for people that are just not being kind to themselves. And it's not fun anymore. And I just want you to be nice to yourself. You know what I mean? That's your only liver. Be nice. All right. We'll talk soon. I'm out of coffee. I love you. Bye.